Welcome to Fontribute, where we talk about fonts and their attributes. Fontribute. I'm here, Thomas again. I'm here again with Aaron. Aaron, thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
All right. So we had so much fun last time reviewing my in progress typeface. Aaron volunteered to step in with one of her projects. So, Aaron, you want us to kind of lead us off from here?
Sure. Yeah, I'm excited. So now hopefully you can dish out some bad news for me about all the things wrong with this. We This is a typeface that I designed that's open source. Google was commissioning a bunch of non-Latin typefaces, and I made some Devanagari ones and a Canada script one. So this is open source, available on GitHub. Someday will hopefully be put on the Google Fonts website. But this was a Latin designed to match the Canada script. So I did the Canada first, then did the Latin. So it's Hubballi is the name of it up top. And it was designed to intended for small size like text reading. And instead of drawing outlines like this, well, okay, this is an O. Um, I actually was just drawing like pen strokes and then using like a singular stroke and then using a expander tool that like automatically creates the outlines. So we're going to see a lot of areas that are kind of like thicker and didn't really get the optical corrections that maybe they would warrant, but that was actually kind of part of the experiment. So I can't wait to find out all the gross areas you find that I should go back in and fix. So
I
this is
see.
a work in progress. Like I can go in and change these. So I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback and your ideas about it, Thomas. And we're
Great.
comparing it with Quicksand, which is another Google font, free font that's kind of similar in that it's very round and kind of has some wide shapes. So there we go.
Yes, and for transparency, I worked on Quicksand as a Google improvement project last summer. So this is the modified edition that I worked on with the blessings of Andrew, the original designer.
Nice.
So yeah, so we let's get started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aaron, you kind of gave us already kind of the overview of how you produce the letters. So I don't have any questions about that. So we can just jump. I think we can jump into just for the audience to understand kind of the differences. So the big one I'm seeing is the joint setup between the two, right? The reduction of weight versus in here versus here. So that was probably one of the first things that stood out to me on that. Some other things I'm seeing is Quicksand kind of had its much more momentum and inside counter versus this more abrupt approach that you took on yours from the stem to the joint. So you
Mhm.
can see that as well. It looks like the curve radius of the round terminals are relatively similar between the two. Yours is thick. Yours is a thicker stroke, so I can't exactly say one to one.
Sure.
Uh, but those are the main notes I'm seeing first. And one thing I'm seeing too is how this curve is handled. This is I think yours is shallower than the more rounded effect on Quicksand, for example.
Hmm. Nice.
Yeah, and I'm looking for any other notes, and uh, that's all I have. That's all I have for this point.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely it's fun because I haven't looked at this in over a year, and it is funny to see like how annoying this looks to me that it's slightly too thick. That if I were to spend more time on this project, I probably would put the optical, thinning, like make it look a little bit thinner there at the join. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well, the
cool.
question, would that also affect your decision on the shoulder over here, or you should leave that alone?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, maybe we'll look at other letters and you can guide me and give me your advice.
Perhaps. We'll see.
Ooh.
All right, so we're on to D. So I think obviously one big note is the construction is different. Again, the Quicksand has this more kind of perfect circle effect that I carried through from the original design. Yours is an abrupt transition, right, from the stem to the joint, uh, set up between on the top part and bottom part. We can see that on both. Yeah, and again, the kind of nature of how the weight is handled down in this area too. Just specifically, again, notice the reduction of weight in the joints. But down here particularly, I see the similar effect uh, we saw on the N over in that bottom right corner. It's kind of the same issue. It's like a thickening's happening right over here that I don't mind. I don't mind very much up here. It actually doesn't seem to be that much of an issue.
Mhm.
It's actually down here I find it's a little troublesome. from
Mhm.
my perspective. Let's see. Looking at they're both relatively short. Like they're relatively high X heights. We can see that from the D. Uh, Also, we can see the bounding box setups were different. I imagine this is because yours is multilingual.
Oh
That might
yeah, and
be
it's like it's horrible. I looking at this now, I'm like, wow, I really did not set that up correctly because this should have had a lot more space up top. I'm thinking, well, I don't remember. Yeah, I know it needed space beneath it for the Canada script, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna see later on that there's some like accent characters that go above
above the bounding
the
box.
emoji box. So whoops.
Oopsie.
Oh, I can't wait.
Excellent.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just on an overall in the skeleton. Yeah, yours has it's kind of a little flatter on the top, and then kind of trying to upward with a more for curve momentum on the bottom,
Mm,
which just makes sense. Quicksand, because of the house, where the joint, how deeper the joints are hitting, it's much more circular in its overall momentum. Uh, in terms of the curves of the round part of the D, I'm seeing
mhm.
so far.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Fun. Okay. Yeah. So actually, here for some, I mean, if I go back, yeah. Okay. So they roughly are treating the same. What's interesting here is in the G, this really stands out.
Hmm.
In this one, in this particular letter. Not sure why. It's because I mean, it did bother me in the D as well, but it was not as offensive or just like
Hmm.
uh, obvious of an issue. Uh, I feel like also you had actually relatively good white space defined in the N at that joint versus the stem,
Hmm.
and the G looks like it's getting a little too clogged up. Like it's barely definable.
Hmm.
Uh, the round terminal, the end, because of how it locked up. So I see a consistency
Nice.
of the logic, but there are some troublesome areas that reduction of weight would have solved these issues over here. It's a fun little. It's actually interesting too. This move where it's like kind of relatively flatter on the top and then kind of wow curves over,
Hmm.
mirrored with this energy down here. Uh, I'm curious how that's going to look in text. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like the worst. I'm just curious about it.
The G is the I think the weirdest character that I drew, and I like never could quite figure out what to do with it. I think I was trying
Nice.
to base it on some of the shapes I'd done in the Canada a little bit, but maybe too much because it's definitely the other thing is, a G usually there's a little bit more of an extension. It goes a little bit further, but this kind of drops off pretty shallowly, and there's a lot of overhang there. So there's like a lot of white space there.
Yeah.
It looks a little weird. It's one of those distinctive characters that you're like, whoa, I know what this typeface is because of this wacky character. So it might be too much in that in that realm. But yeah, I'm glad you noticed that this, you know, it wasn't quite as defined up here as in the N. I forgot about that. Huh.
Hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. To be fair, again, and Quicks looks like I need to go check out whatever happened down here. It seems like a weird terminal thing happened. Uh,
Yeah, like maybe
a
there's
node got
point
weird
that
or
goes in
something.
the node. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to be fair, so like the Quicksand uh project was not fully. There's things I can check out for myself as well. That's one that stood out from the Quicksand review.
This is what you get for having free fonts, everyone. There's going to be issues. There you
Yeah,
go.
so that's the point. We can when we have time, we can always go back and adjust it.
Yeah.
That's the key, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Uh,
Right.
yeah. So obviously, one is the skeleton difference between
Mhm.
the two designs here. Mine's following. This was from the original design. I wanted to continue this kind of more U-shaped Y effect versus your more V-oriented Y, as an example. Uh, so besides that, uh, yeah, it looks like it appears that this is thicker than this side, right? Or is that not the case?
Yeah, it's weird because I remember using the same. I'm pretty sure I used the same thickness attributes like when I was making this on all of the strokes. But I must have gone in and done a little bit of fidgeting or something to make this look different. But yeah, I would say this. You're right. I think this side looks thicker, and I don't know if that was just from the program or if it was from me. But it's a little awkward. It's like a little backward or something. I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's so gross. This typeface looks so gross up close. I think it looks better when it's at small
More
sizes.
sizes.
I think it's one of those.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll get to that.
I would
I
never
think
use
also
it like this.
it's all good. So I mean, there are some fun things about it. Kind of like this arching bowing effect. I do
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I enjoy that. I do feel like you got a little confused how to deal with the terminal down here. It's kind of like it kind of goes like this and kind of where kind of
My subtle curve. Yeah, you're like, what the heck? Why isn't it straight? I
Well,
think, yeah.
I know why you did it. I don't think fairly straight would make sense. Like that'd be too harsh for what you're trying to do. I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you. There should be a curve there, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem resolved.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure.
exactly yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it
And
needs
that's
to be more of a
probably,
curve.
yeah, that's probably why the G looks so weird as well, because it's like they don't relate to one another. Not very much. So
Yeah.
yeah. Pick a direction, Aaron. Very good.
Okay. Yeah,
Wee.
so the A. So actually, by the way, Quicksand does have a two-story A stylistic
Oh,
alternate. Just letting the world know in case you
okay.
want to use Quicksand and for this. But so I think the main discussion here, again, it's again like actually it was interesting where this is not bad. It's like not the worst, right? You could sell it to me that this is reasonable, this decision. It's
Mm-hmm.
really down here where things kind of get a little uh hairy with the contrast here.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, I do think you did a smart move, which is you kind of had your tail arch out like you did. I think that was a smart move. Otherwise, it would have been way too like blobbed up
Mm-hmm.
uh, as an approach. I agree with that decision. I would have done the same thing. I'm seeing again the over kind of undershoot, the kind of overbite or underbite, depends on how you want to define it, of your terminal with your bowl, right? So I see a mirroring of the G on that one
Mm-hmm.
with the A. Yeah, and again, you're finding the model kind of it's more straightish on top, and then kind of you make up for it with a more it's kind of like where, and then when you bring it up relatively quick. I'm sensing some consistency in your skeleton form when you were drawing it. I could see that much.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think again the issues come up kind of in this curve profile, like right here, for example. It's a little too shallow at that rounded terminal. Like the weight of here and here seem heavier than here because of
Mm-hmm.
that.
Okay.
So those are errors I'm sensing because of the process you used. Some modifications would to help kind of snap it in a little better could have helped.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback.
Cool. Quicksand's a
Snap.
little unfair on the comparison because it's a little just straightforward. Basically, what you saw, like literally, this is like the one story G, right, with just no tail
Mhm.
on the bottom. So a little unfair. That's the comparison.
It's going to be interesting to see, like, this is a good demonstration of like variation, like when we see the text. Okay, you know what, I'll wait for the text to make my
Yeah,
comment.
we'll
Never mind.
get there. We'll get
Oh,
there.
this is funny. Look
Yeah,
at the R.
it's a fun one. Yeah, it's
Ah.
a fun one. And I actually do remember this is actually one of the projects parts I worked on very clearly on because Quicksand had a similar issue like this when in original form. And what I did was I introduced kind of this little bubble out effect, right? And then really strong reduction of contrast, reduction of weight in the joint, uh, which I thought, I think it worked pretty well. I think it gives a nice feeling to it overall.
I
Uh,
think it's too
you
thin.
think it's
That's
too
my
thin?
Yeah, or that it's too much of a bubble here. Like I wish there was just a little bit more right there. That's my feeling. Of course, I wish there were more of a, there's weight reduction here, but maybe I want them both to be averaged. And then they
Hmm,
could both use the same form. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. I guess I'll
fascinating.
just wait till I see it in context.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got to see in the text for the ultimate test because I understand your reasoning behind that, Aaron, about this question versus here. My thinking was I wanted to emphasize this, so I'm going to decrease this so that in color the end results will be averaged out. That was the thinking behind that for mine. Uh, yeah, the big note here again, like the reduction of weight. Yeah, also to be fair, the skeleton form is different. Like yours follows more like just an arch through, right? Mine's
Hmm.
kind of meant to imply a little bit of a it's a deeper curve. Like basically, it's less flat at the
Hmm.
joint
Yeah.
area, and meant to
Yeah.
arch over. Yeah. Okay. So this
I
is fun.
included this to show you the hilarious overshoot. Look at me. Oh, I'm a professional. Love it.
Awesome. No, it's all good. I mean, obviously there's positioning. Uh, it does feel a little large too, relative to the what we've seen elsewhere. But I do like your spacing here. Actually, one that I critique on myself. I think I was a little too aggressive in the positioning. I think I could have brought the tittle of the eye higher up.
Hmm.
Yeah, which is a comment I'm going to say about most of the diacritics down. I think I saw the slide, so I know I'm going to say the similar things about my other diacritics as well.
And Quicksand, was that one designed to be, it's more supposed to be a text face than a display, correct? I can't remember.
It gets used in both places,
Okay.
So I guess it's a typical issue where you're like, well, it's going to be used for both. So you
Yeah,
make some decisions for text, make some decisions for display, or
sure.
yeah, with unsatisfactory conclusions as a result.
Wee.
So we're here with now the full setting. Well, it's hamburger font stuff anyway. Yeah. So there's, I mean, one thing I also noticed is overall is that your spacing is much looser,
Hmm. Yep.
right?
You tracked wasn't Quicksand like really
Yeah, it was
loose?
it was super loose. It was absurdly loose. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. And then like once you changed it to me, it looked like a totally different typeface just because it was like much more you brought it in like quite a lot. So it was like to me, I'm like I barely recognized it. The spacing like was so different. It was pretty funny. But I imagine that this is more useful for people because before it was quite strange. But I love loose typefaces for small sizes and stuff, so I kept mine very loose
No,
here.
I got you. Yeah, but just taking notice
Yeah.
of that. I think it's a good example where I knew Quicksand was going to be used for could be used for both purposes, so I kind of chose a tighter spacing. I'm like, well, they're probably going to use it for headlining stuff, uh, things like that. But I've seen it used in user interfaces. So
Hmm.
that's a great example where it's like kind of a text use or thinking behind that.
I mean, I like the spacing you chose for Quicksand for this size. But I don't know. To me, I think it's a little tight for smaller text. I don't know.
We'll find
We'll
out.
find out, Aaron. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also interesting. Sorry, this is a good time for me to also mention. Like, I know you said there was an alternate A, but there's really a lot of the repetitious circular forms in a lot of these, whereas mine I think is well, yeah. I mean, I guess it's a little bit more with the double story A. It's a little more varied, I guess, in terms of the shapes of things. And I know I didn't treat. Wait, there's no N. There is an N.
There's.
Yeah, and I didn't treat those the same, so I'm trying to remember if I don't know. Yeah, that G. I'm not sure. Still not sure about my G. It's funny. Um, what else can I want to mention at this point? So some of the other differences between the two typefaces, I think I made a little bit longer,
Yeah, it's just
a little
wider in
wider
general.
T,
Yeah.
made a more kind of wide S with a larger kind of aperture here. This is a little more curved. What else are we seeing? Yeah, there's the little bloop. Oh, also there's no
Yeah, that one there's
tail on the
in the
U.
design.
That's unusual.
There's no
Huh.
tail, no stem on the U.
Huh. Interesting.
Mhm.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, cool,
Hee hee hee.
cool, cool. Yeah.
Yippee.
So again, for me, for reviewing this one for Quickstep for myself, basically my comment, I put this way too tight on next to the body, like next to the main letters. That was
Mm.
the initial thing that stood out to me. I think he did. I think he did the right decision of your positioning for the
Aside
background
from my
character.
horrible metrics, but yeah, I think they thank you for that. I think they do. There's a little bit more breathing room, which helps, which is good.
Yeah.
Um, very cool. Let's see.
Well, also there's a comment again I was seeing before the length of the punctuation. For example, comparing the sizing. I think again, this is where I was meditating on. Like, well, it's probably more display purposes they'll use this thing for. So I was kind of shows a little less emphasizing of punctuation, but yet to compensate for that, it was going to make it really dramatic with a really strong momentum, like a
Hmm.
very strong curve energy. Uh, it kind of plays on that cutesy effect that I felt like Quicksand was playing off a little bit, just not because of commentary on mine. Uh, as an approach.
Wait. Oh my gosh. Okay, we have to step backward. Wait, who designed that punctuation? It
I
wasn't
think
you, was it?
I modified it. Yeah, I think I
It's
modified it.
bizarre. It is
Yeah,
absolutely bonkers. Wait, what? What did it look like before?
I don't remember. It's been long enough.
Thomas, I think that's a little crazy.
Okay.
Why did it get pointy there? Like it's like pointy on the inside curve, and then whoops, I can't even draw it.
It's
Well,
a
anyway,
tighter curve.
bizarre. I can't wait to see it in text. It's
Yeah.
very distinctive. It's very interesting. Did you like, yeah, it didn't get mimicked in the tilde or the accents or anything. I don't know. I think it's a little too different from the other things we're seeing. It's very decorative or something. I don't know. Although mine look like nasty little like curved hot dog things. They're kind of gross, but we'll see.
Mm,
we'll, we'll see.
yeah.
Uh hmm, let's see what else.
It's kind of
Yeah,
fun.
I'm
It's
ex-
actually it's a little bit of a dance between like the two extremes, basically between the two, right?
mhm, mhm.
It's a fun thing.
So funny. Gosh. Um yeah, oh man, the numbers. I remember the numbers being really hard. Some of these
Yeah.
junctions with that method I was using with the stupid expanded stroke, it got really tight. I mean, I think I even did modify these slightly once they were expanded right before I put the typeface up because it was just
It was too
impossible. So
much. Yeah.
I don't recommend people use that shortcut to make a typeface. So you're gonna have to go in and make a bunch of changes. So just
Modifications.
draw it correctly from the beginning. I would never do it again. Oh, whoops. Here's something I want to change. What I
Positioning. Ah,
just look at that. Yeah, there's
yeah.
something weird going on there. Ooh, yikes.
Mm. I'm right there
Oh,
too.
you know what else was hard? Oh yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Oh, and the tapering. Yeah, the exclamation point looks a little thinner than the question mark or
Yeah.
something. Um, Something that was really tricky. Oh, and look how dark this looks compared to that.
That.
Ugh. It was so hard for me. The other horrible thing, for just now I'm remembering all the horrible experiences I had making this typeface. Why it looks so janky is, in addition, is because you can't, when you're doing an expanded stroke, it's really hard to gauge overshoot and
Mm.
plan for how far it's going to go over when the stroke gets expanded. So all these things that went over and all the rounds, like I remember having to adjust those like so many times. So again, Aaron's advice, don't don't do that. Like just draw it the correct way to begin with. Don't do this stupid expanded stroke crap. It's not worth the time. Thank you.
Mm.
The end.
Excellent. Very cool. I will say there are some things I do like about your drawing of your numbers specifically. Like I actually like this solution you chose for the six, especially that top terminal.
Thank you.
Right. About reviewing mine, I think I would have gone back. I'd probably adjust. I'd probably make some adjustments in this on these
Mm,
two areas over there. Uh, and I think I enjoyed that nice wide seven, and I actually like this
mm,
solution, right? The arch over.
mm.
Nice.
Thank you. Very cool.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
yours are a lot more condensed, so that's gonna look. I think I might have had some text with some numbers in it, so it'll be cool to
We
see
do.
what
Yeah.
they look like. Great.
Cool.
Good. Yay.
Cool. So I saw
So
you had two slides with different
yeah,
settings. So what's
because
going on there?
yeah, when I so you guys all noticed that I had very bizarre vertical metrics, and I still should probably go back and fix those. But one of the things about I designed the Canada script first, which has a lot of like there's characters up here, but then there's a lot of stuff that goes underneath each character, so that's like naturally there's much like the built-in leading between each line is much greater in that typeface than in just a Latin-based one. So I made this just with the normal settings, and then I made, if you go to the next slide, this
Yeah.
one I kind of modified it so that I brought the leading in on this so we could just kind of have a better side-by-side comparison because it looked bizarre otherwise. So this will help us kind of
Hmm.
check it out. So typefaces. Tell me what you think.
Well, yeah. I mean, definitely it's a good structure. It's almost like you know what it is. It has the main issue of that dip in chocolate issue, right? With the contrast problems we were identifying beforehand.
Hmm.
So I could see that here in here in pieces here and there. But overall, the overall skeleton is actually pretty good. I will say,
Okay.
it feels comfortable
Okay.
to read. Uh, Obviously, our philosophies of spacing is being clearly shown here, very differently between the two. But to be fair, even the whole body of the type is very different between the two, even with this adjustment. You
Yeah.
know, which is surprising because their X heights are relatively similar. I believe they seem like they're.
You know what? I must have done something to, like, I must not have had this be the exact same height, or maybe I matched their cap heights, or I don't know what I did in this, but this would look a little bit shorter, but then again, it would also, the leading would, it would look even denser. I might have just tried to figure out what kind of the gray value would have looked like side by side. Yours,
Mm,
I mean, to me, it's not too tight, but I think it's hard because like to me I like having the extra leading in between each line. Like I like having a little bit of extra white space. So obviously if you design a typeface yourself, you design what you like to read. So I mean I still do prefer this, but this I don't think is too tight at all. And I think the word spacing looks really good. I think there's like a good rhythm. Like I think it's like well spaced in terms of character to character and stuff. I'm not seeing anything that um, draws my attention. Mine was very loose. Like I had to kind of also match spacing with the Canada, which I'm not showing in this talk, obviously, but that also had to be kind of loosely spaced, especially with this style of everything being kind of round and blobby and stuff. I had to give it a little bit more space, otherwise I think it would have looked really trashy. But
yeah.
this was designed a lot more. There's like more finesse in the characters, so I think it's able to withstand the closer spacing better than this would have. This would have started to look kind of yucky if it didn't have the breathing room between
No,
each.
I would definitely agree, especially without the
Yeah,
contrast, without the play
yeah,
of thick thin contrast. I would agree with that.
yeah. What do you think about the goofy G and the
I
Y
was
and
I was
stuff?
just gonna move you. I was just gonna move over to that. Uh, it's interesting, to say the least. I mean, yeah, it's a little um like I'm looking at like your S, your G, and the Y is not that bad. Actually, the Y is not too bad. It feels a little wide, but like at
Hmm.
system,
Hmm.
the S does feel a little weird. Like there's moments where you're really going for this very linear feeling, kind of like there's not that much curvature in the top and bottom of the S, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
So it gives a much more kind of rigid feeling to it.
Hmm.
And that especially like how the overbite of the G, lowercase g, is playing on pictographic, uh, with the kind of straightness of that terminal at the bottom.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, it seems a little unresolved, uh, where you want to go with this.
Man, what do you think I should do for the G? Like, I really don't even know what I like, what's gonna make it look, because I also don't want it to get too closed off and then look really dark.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
totally get you.
oh, give me advice, or
Give
maybe
you
after the
advice.
talk you can give me advice because I'm like stuck.
Yeah, I need to meditate on that a little bit. But yeah, but that problem, it's just in general, like there's certain letters that are very like have a certain round feeling behind it, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm looking at like yeah, like your O, the C, things like that.
Yeah.
And then there's other letters that are a little more rigid. Maybe just maybe even just a little more a slight angle to improve them, just a curvature down or up to help them out. I
Hmm.
would say. Uh, yeah. So let's see. Let's see if I have any other notes. I could look at it. Yeah, definitely. There's certain letters that do. The main issue is when there's like a lot of strokes combining together. That's when the
Hmm.
weight issue really stands out.
Right.
Uh,
Right. Right. Right.
that part stands out. But again, it reads. It's very comfortable. You know, I don't think it's besides again the some of the letters like the G, as we said, and the S. Uh, those it's kind of like those are the letters that stand out to me a little bit that
Okay.
are uh, not playing well. You know, because the thing like the art, the bowing of the V's, the Y's, for example, even the how you handle the E, how that crossbar, it's like round and it goes straight at the very at the when it
Hmm.
joins up
Yeah,
again.
it is like it's weird that it's a very curvy, goofy little like childish looking E. It's pretty funny. It's
Yeah,
cool to compare it with a more traditional pointy sided thing. Yeah. Hmm. If we ever turn back around, wait, have you finished an Arabic typeface? I can't remember.
no, I've been dragging on that for a very
Oh,
long
okay.
time.
Okay, because I was gonna say like, oh, it'd be cool if we could do an episode also where we talk about. I know you wanted to mention that though. You wanted to do an Arabic, like we talk about an Arabic typeface. It'd be cool if we could do like let's look at the Latin and the
Arabic.
non-Latin together and do that and whatever. But that would be kind of cool because it's also it's so hard when you're juggling a project with two scripts and knowing like how do you make decisions that make sense for both scripts and maybe some of these things like yeah I made the S very wide because I was thinking of what was happening in the Canada, so that's I'm glad you mentioned that because if this is going to stand alone it should probably it might I might want to consider something else to make it work better like this. Okay, cool. Yeah, that G, oh kill me,
Fun. Well,
that
things to
guy,
learn. Things to
it's good.
learn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I agree with what you said earlier. I think the quote marks, I mean, maybe they could be a little longer, and like you said, you would move the
move it
diacritics
up.
up a little bit. But yeah, looks good to me.
Well, look at
Whew.
that. I know. My little my crazy method has vindicated. Uh, Yeah, but I definitely would agree at like larger setting. It's tricky because actually the folded quicksand was in my mental thinking behind a little bit in the sense of is it display or is it text? Like which one is it? This is kind of
Mhm.
sitting. It's like a moment pulling one in versus the other. So like those quotation marks work in this mode. But when you look at it large, you're like, whoa, those are really aggressive and very
Yeah.
explicit. Uh, yeah, so I think it's you know definitely it's kind of like a little of a contention. Like actually, for example, right now I'm seeing. I agree with you on like at least the way this text is rendering, this way this R is rendering. Uh,
Yeah, that's weird.
it's
That I
popping
mean,
out. It's literally
yeah.
like I mean it reads sort of, but it's like a weird, like almost.
Yeah, it looks like a weird mistake. Like there must be something weird going on with the alignment zones or something because it's yeah, it doesn't look quite how I know it's supposed to look. So there might be
Yeah,
something we have to go back
just
in and change.
fucking weird. Anyways, yeah. So I'm not walking out of this unscathed either, uh, per se. But besides that, no, I think these are not atrocious of any kind of like severe badness. Yeah.
I think I have one more slide where we looked at slightly larger.
Larger
Yeah,
settings.
cool. That helps.
Yeah.
I want you to fix this rupee
I
sign.
know. I was looking at it before the note. I was like, "Oh fuck! How what I this is what happens when
I'm
you don't."
sorry I had to put that in there, but
It's fine.
it's it's a new currency symbol, like relatively new. I think it was introduced maybe like 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. So it's like not all typefaces have it, or people know like
How to draw it
how
properly,
to draw it
like
or something
myself.
like that. So I don't know, but
Right.
it's hard because yeah, because some examples they do base it directly on whatever the capital R is, and then they put like the lines on it. But there might be like a halfway. So that's Aaron's indic insight of the day, that
Advisement.
if anyone wants help designing a rupee symbol, ask me. I might be able to help you. So anyway,
Excellent.
okay. So looking at this, ooh, something that's drawing my eye. I like the connected cedilla. I don't know why I did not connect mine. I can't remember if that's wrong or not, like technically wrong. Am I supposed to connect that? I don't know.
No, it's not technically wrong. I think it's legal if you want it. If it's not an illegal move, it may be a questionable move, but that's a
Yeah,
separate issue.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Man. And I know, like, I know we were talking about the Ogonieks, and our friend Carolina, who's Polish, she is trying to tell me, like, oh, people make them too small or whatever. So I made this giant. So I don't know if she's watching. I can maybe ask her, is that way too big? I don't know. So
I
we'll
mean,
see.
what I like about it, it feels like part of the letter,
Hmm.
right? And I gotta be quite frank. When I was drawing mine, I'm kind of like, what the hell? How do I make this work? I was kind of stuck in a bad position
Looks
because
like a little fish hook. Oh, could you not go any lower or
lower than the
something?
day sender.
Oh
Yup.
no.
I was dongled. I was massively side blocked. Yeah, because organites don't want to go past the right area. So
You
I
can
was,
be like me and just go crazy and not care
oh,
about your boundaries and make a
oh,
completely
nice.
wrong font. You could just do that.
Excellent.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh man, my F is too dark in that area
I
too.
was just thinking the same thing on mine.
I
Yeah,
like this. This is good. I have to remember to look at more multi, like multilingual texts when I'm making these decisions. I'm really way too English focused. I need to get out of my comfort zone and start learning
yeah.
more and
The,
observing more and
the
stuff.
second half of the character set. Yeah.
All of those people in the world who in America, we never think about you because it's all about us. So sorry, everybody. Ugh.
uh,
Um,
Good times.
feel
Yeah.
bad.
Well, let's focus on a positive note, right?
Okay,
Uh,
positive things.
right. They're free, basically, if you want to use these
They're
projects.
free
Uh,
Libra. Come get our Libra fonts, everybody. There's mistakes, but you can come and fix the fonts if you want, actually. That's the great thing about it. If you find things you don't like about it, download the font, make your changes, and then you get to use it for free. So
or
that's another good thing.
you can flag an issue. You can flag a
Yeah.
bug.
And
And
maybe if I have nothing to do, I will fix it. But I want to make money to feed myself. So I don't know if I'm going to fix everything. But, anyway, but if you have comments on this, yeah, like Thomas just said, flag an issue, tell us things that look wrong to you, and then myself or anyone else who wants to go into the font can go and fix it. I mean, that's the great thing about this. It's a work in progress. It's kind of cool. So that's another good thing. This is a great like teaching method for anyone designing a typeface. If you're kind of nervous and afraid and you want to get feedback, why don't you make a Libra project and then people are able to help and like be more involved in the process? That might actually be kind of a cool way to start your adventures in type. So anyway, thanks for giving me the opportunity to share the project, and thank you for looking at it, Thomas. I'm glad I got to hear some of your ideas. Very helpful. Thank you so much.
awesome. I'm glad to help. I think this is fun because also it shows like the range of legalness, right? In the sense that just like no, this really shows it off, like the spacing differences approaching, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
they're both
yeah.
within tolerance, but the question is some people might choose to go more in this direction, more in this one, maybe something in the middle,
Hmm.
based on your
Hmm.
application and thinking behind it. Uh,
Totally.
so again, it's like projects that seem very similar are actually very different, which is a common theme for Type Thursday.
I
Or
say that a lot.
yes.
Thanks so much. Thank you. This was fun. I feel good about this. Thank you. And if anyone wants us to talk about their project, let us know. Otherwise, I guess we'll have to keep going back to published projects and massacre those. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, we don't. We're none of that, please. I think actually we're harder on ourselves in this one, especially compared.
Maybe. I
Yeah,
wasn't hard enough on my project, but whatever. We'll see. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Thomas.
my pleasure. All right, everyone, have a great week. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.